What we're talking about today hits close to home. It's about your livelihood, your future, and the future of your kids. Is artificial intelligence really going to steal all of our jobs, or will it actually create more opportunities for us? On one hand, some people say AI will leave 90% of the population jobless. That everything we've worked so hard to build will be replaced by cold, ruthless algorithms, sending us spiraling into an inescapable abyss of poverty. But on the other hand, you have people who say AI will set humanity free, allowing us to do more creative and fulfilling work. A golden age is just around the corner. They say an era where we no longer have to grind just to make ends meet, and everyone is free to chase their dreams. Today, it's one debate, two futures. The clash of ideas begins now.
Hey everyone! My opponent is probably going to paint a beautiful picture for you tonight. A future where we're all free to become artists and poets, living lives of leisure while friendly robots do all the boring work. It's a lovely dream. But I'm here to tell you it's just that, a dream, and a dangerous one. The question isn't whether AI could create a utopia. The question is whether it will under the system we have right now. And the answer, based on cold, hard logic, is a resounding no. The path we are on doesn't lead to a life of leisure for all. It leads to extreme wealth for a tiny few and poverty for almost everyone else. Let's break it down into two simple points. First, this time is different. We've heard it all before, right? Don't worry about technology. It always creates new jobs. But that's a massive misunderstanding of what AI is. Think about the steam engine or the factory line. They replaced human muscle. They took over the hard physical jobs. This pushed people into new jobs that required our brains: administration, design, analysis, customer service. But AI is different. It doesn't come for our muscles, it comes for our brains. It's not just replacing the truck driver. It's replacing the accountant, the graphic designer, the paralegal, the software coder, the financial analyst. It's coming for the very safe middle-class jobs that were supposed to be our refuge, the core of our modern economy. For the first time in history, the machine is not just stronger than us, it's becoming smarter than us, at the very tasks we use to earn a living. Second, and this is the most important point, follow the money. Let's do a simple thought experiment. Imagine a company has 1,000 accountants. They replace them all with a single AI system. The work still gets done, maybe even better. But where does all the money that used to pay the salaries of those 1,000 people go? It doesn't just disappear. It doesn't get magically distributed to the public. No, it goes straight into the pockets of the people who own the AI. The CEO, the major shareholders, the tech investors. This isn't an attack on them, it's just how our system works. Profit is the goal. AI is the ultimate profit-making tool because you don't have to pay it a salary, give it sick leave, or listen to its complaints. It's pure capital. So what happens when this isn't just one company, but every company? You create a fire hose of cash, flowing from what used to be the wages of millions of people and spraying it directly at a tiny, ultra-wealthy elite. This isn't just a bit more inequality. This is an economic event that creates a permanent two-tiered society, the owners and the owned-nots. So when my opponent comes up here and tells you not to worry, that new jobs will appear, I want you to ask yourself, new jobs doing what? What jobs can humans do better, cheaper, and faster than an AI that gets exponentially smarter every single year? We are in a race we cannot win, and in an economy that only rewards winners, the rest of us will be left with nothing. Poverty, in this future, isn't a possibility. It's the default setting. Thank you.
My opponent speaks of a fatal trap, but the real trap is thinking our future is limited by the fears of today. Let's look at history, because we've been here before. Every single industrial revolution has sparked the exact same fear, that machines will take all our jobs. When the steam engine arrived, people feared the end of manual labor. When electricity and the assembly line came, they predicted mass unemployment, and with the rise of computers, the story was the same. But what actually happened? History proves that while some jobs disappear, new technologies create entirely new jobs we couldn't have imagined before. 100 years ago, who could have planned for a career as a software engineer? 30 years ago, the job app developer didn't exist. And just 15 years ago, becoming a professional YouTuber was unthinkable. These professions were not lost. They were created by the very technological shifts that people feared. My opponent says, this time is different. That AI is coming for our brains, not our muscles. And you know what? She's absolutely right. This time is different, but she sees that as a threat. I see it as the single greatest opportunity in human history. Think about it. When machines replaced our muscles, it didn't make our bodies useless. It freed us up to do things that required our minds. Now, AI is here to automate the boring parts of thinking. The repetitive calculations, the data sorting, the first drafts. She asks what happens to the accountant. I'll tell you what happens. The AI becomes the world's best calculator, finding every anomaly and crunching every number in seconds. This frees up the human accountant to become a true financial strategist, to sit with a client, to understand their dreams, to give them creative advice. The AI does the what, so the human can focus on the why and the what's next. It's not replacing our brains, it's giving them a supercharger. It's a tool, the most powerful tool we've ever built. And just like every tool before it, it will create new jobs we can't even imagine today. 100 years ago, who could have described the job of a social media manager or a software developer? To say no new jobs will appear is to bet against the one thing that has never failed us: human creativity. Now for her second big point, and it's the one that sounds the most convincing: follow the money. She paints a picture of 1,000 salaries getting funneled into one CEO's pocket. So, a company becomes super efficient. But what happens next? Does all that extra money just get locked away in a vault? Of course not. They use it to compete. They lower their prices. And when they lower their prices, everyone else has to lower their prices. So who really benefits from this AI-driven efficiency? It's the small business owner who can finally afford the same expert advice as a multinational corporation. It's the nonprofit that can now stretch every dollar further. It's the entire economy becoming more powerful because we've empowered everyone in it, not just those at the very top. And when everything gets more productive, everything gets cheaper. Food, housing, energy, healthcare, education. This is the secret weapon against poverty. Poverty isn't just about how much you earn. It's about what you can buy with it. If the cost of living falls through the floor, everyone becomes richer. That's not a dream. That's basic economics. She sees the money flowing to the top. She misses the wave of abundance and affordability that lifts all boats. Finally, her whole argument rests on the idea that we are helpless passengers, that the system is a fixed thing and we just have to accept it. History says otherwise. When the Industrial Revolution created massive inequality, what did we do? We didn't just give up and accept a two-tiered society. We invented labor laws. We created social safety nets. We demanded public education. We fought for a better world. The immense wealth AI will create gives us the power to do it again, but on a grander scale. Things like a universal basic income aren't a handout. They are a dividend, a share of the enormous wealth created by our collective technological progress. So, when my opponent asks, what jobs are left for us? I ask a different question. When our basic needs are met by a world of AI-driven abundance, what great challenges will we choose to solve? What art will we create? What new frontiers will we explore? Her future is a dead end. Mine is a starting line. A world where we are finally free from the work that breaks our backs and dulls our minds. To finally start the work that fulfills our souls. Thank you.
Thank you. My opponent has painted a very comforting picture. A future where AI is our friendly assistant, where everything is cheap, and where we all become creative strategists. It's a wonderful story. And I'm here to tell you that for 99% of people, it is just a story. Let's look at the reality he's asking you to ignore. First, he tells you the accountant becomes a strategist. It sounds great, but let's go back to my example of the company with 1,000 accountants. Okay, maybe the top manager becomes a strategist, working with the AI. What happens to the other 999? His plan is not an economic solution, it's a lottery ticket where only one person wins and everyone else is sent home. The idea that entire populations can reskill into high-level creative roles is a fantasy. Most jobs are not about high-level strategy, they are about reliable execution. And that is exactly what AI will do better, faster, and cheaper than any human. It's not a supercharger for everyone, it's a replacement for the majority. Second, he promises you a world of abundance where everything gets cheaper. I want you to look at your own life. Has technology made the most important things cheaper? Is your rent cheaper? Is healthcare cheaper? Is putting your kids through college cheaper? No. The price of a television has gone down. The price of a Netflix subscription is low, but the core costs of a secure, dignified life have only gone up. His abundance is a world where you can afford endless digital entertainment while you worry about making next month's rent. That isn't wealth. That's a high-tech bread and circus designed to keep you distracted while you get poorer. Finally, and most dangerously, he says we'll just vote for a better system, like a universal basic income. Let's assume we try to pay for this. My opponent wants you to believe we can just tax the AI billionaires. But this creates a fatal trap. If you impose the massive taxes needed to fund UBI, what do the corporations and the wealthy who own the AI do? They don't just generously hand over the money. Capital is mobile. They will simply relocate their assets and headquarters to countries with lower taxes, taking the entire economic engine and the tax revenue needed for UBI with them. The plan self-destructs. My opponent's vision is built on hope, on a belief that companies will act against their own interests and that the super rich will just decide to be generous. My vision is built on reality. His future is a dream. But if we follow it without a plan, we are going to wake up to a nightmare. Thank you.
Thank you. My opponent is very skilled at painting a grim picture. She's telling you a story of powerlessness, of scarcity, and of a future where you are left behind. And once again, she is asking you to believe that the future will be exactly like the past, just with scarier robots. But she's missing the point. Let's get real. First, she asks what happens to the 999 accountants. It's a dramatic question, but it's based on a false premise. She thinks the company's goal is to fire 999 people. That's not it. A company's goal is to grow. With AI doing the grunt work, that company can now serve 5,000 small businesses that could never afford an accountant before. And who serves those new clients? The 999 people. AI doesn't just eliminate work, it creates new markets, and those new markets need people. Second, she says technology hasn't made the important things housing, healthcare cheaper. She is absolutely right. And that is the most powerful argument for my case. Why are those things so expensive? Because they are the last industries to be truly transformed by productivity. She's pointing to a sick patient and blaming the doctor who just walked into the room with the cure. AI is that cure. It will help us design homes in days and discover drugs in months. She is using the problems of the 20th century as an argument against the solution of the 21st. Finally, my opponent argues that our labor will be made obsolete. But this is based on the flawed premise that human needs are finite. This is a profound failure of imagination. She looks at the jobs of today and sees them being automated. I look at the human mind and see an infinite engine for creating new desires. 100 years ago, who would have thought we'd have jobs like virtual reality experience designer, genetic counselor, or master chef? These roles didn't exist because the technologies and desires they serve hadn't been invented yet. AI won't destroy jobs, it will automate the mundane, freeing up human creativity to invent the next layer of our economy. Once AI provides for our basic needs, we will invent new things to want: personalized art, bespoke entertainment, deep therapeutic connections, or even interstellar exploration. Our leverage is not our muscle. It's our endless capacity to dream up new frontiers. My opponent is mourning the automation of the 20th century economy. She fails to see that we are on the cusp of creating the 22nd century economy with roles we can't even fathom today. Our power lies not in the work we do, but in the new work we will inevitably invent. Thank you.
All right, let's bring this back down to earth. My opponent has done a wonderful job telling you a story. A hopeful story, full of human creativity, new markets, and a fair society where we all just create a better future. It's the story we all want to be true, but a 1-minute reality check is in order. First, he says the company won't fire the 999 accountants. It will grow and find new work for them. Let's be real. A company that invests millions in AI to cut costs is not going to immediately hire everyone back to chase smaller, less profitable clients. The AI will serve those new clients. His argument isn't an economic plan, it's corporate fan fiction. Second, he says AI will be the cure for expensive housing and healthcare, but he avoids the most important question: who will own the cure? The same tiny group of companies and investors. They won't give it to you for free. They will patent it, license it, and sell it at the highest possible price. He's promising you a cure but forgetting to mention it'll be locked in a vault that you can't afford to open. Finally, my opponent offers you a comforting fantasy, a future where we all become artists, explorers, and virtual reality designers. It's a wonderful vision, but it's a vision for the 1%, not the 99%. He speaks of genetic counselors and master chefs. I ask you to think about the truck driver, the cashier, the factory worker, and the call center agent. Are they all supposed to magically become creative geniuses overnight? His argument isn't just a failure of imagination, it's a failure of basic empathy. He is celebrating a future where a tiny creative class might find new, interesting work, while ignoring the hundreds of millions of ordinary, hardworking people whose skills will be rendered worthless. His new economy sounds suspiciously like a new kind of feudalism, a small court of artisans entertaining the wealthy lords who own the AI, while the masses are left with no role and no income. My opponent says our power lies in the new work we will invent. I am telling you this is a dangerous illusion. A future that only has room for the creative elite is no future for the rest of us. Thank you.
My opponent wants you to believe my vision for the future is an elitist fantasy. She claims I'm ignoring the truck driver and the cashier. Let me be clear, the only elitist idea on this stage is the belief that a truck driver or a cashier is incapable of becoming something more. Her argument is built on a profound pessimism. It's the condescending belief that people are static, that their current job is their final destination, and that they lack the capacity to learn, adapt, and dream. She sees people as defined by their past, while I see them as defined by their potential. 100 years ago, my opponent would have stood on a stage like this and lamented the fate of the horse-drawn carriage driver, dismissing the automobile as a rich man's toy. She would have argued that we must protect the job of the blacksmith, failing to imagine that his grandson might become an aerospace engineer. History has proven this fear wrong time and time again. Human potential is not a limited resource. It is the one truly infinite thing we have. My opponent asks you to fear the future because she lacks faith in people. I ask you to embrace it because my entire argument is built on a boundless faith in every single one of us. So the choice tonight is not between a beautiful story and a harsh reality. The choice is between ambition and fear. It's a choice between building the future we want or simply accepting the bleak one she describes. Technology is not destiny. It is a tool. And what it creates depends entirely on what we decide to do with it. She describes the future we get by default. I describe the future we can build by design. The choice is ours. Thank you.
All right, so what's the verdict, judges? After listening to their debate, it's definitely raised a lot of deep questions for us to think about personally. For example, does this mean the era of taking crap from the boss is finally coming to an end? And do we all need to be like the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad says to proactively learn how to make sound investments and start businesses just to have a footing in the future? I'm really looking forward to seeing your votes and thoughts down in the comments. No matter what, I believe that in the midst of transformation, there's always opportunity, and I hope every single one of you is able to find yours. Before you go, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. Your support really means the world to us. We'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye!